You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate it. As always, the Chris Voss Show is the family that loves you, but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law, because she's just never liked you. I mean, let's just be really honest with you. But the great thing about the Chris Voss Show is we still love you, as long as you're not evil. But remember, we don't loan out money, so we're not that kind of family. We love you, but, we're just not openly seclude. I don't even know what the right word is. But we're not loaning you money, damn it, so quit asking. You can refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. If you would, please. We need some guilt and shaming. Remember, you must have 5 people in your downline of referrals to listen to the show. I'm just kidding. We're not an MLM. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss one of the TikTokity, and Chris Voss Facebook.com. All those crazy places on the interwebs in the sky. As always, we talk about stories. We love stories on the show. People are the sum of all their stories they collected on their journey through life, and they're the fabric of who we are. And whether they're fictional or non-fictional, it's how we learn, it's how we entertain ourselves, and all that good stuff. We have an amazing author on the show. We're going to be talking about his book and everything that went into it, and the amazing story and how he's trying to get it put out there on the big streaming channels and get it picked up for the I think the mid-screen, the small screen, or the big screen, whatever screen you can get it on, damn it. We're just trying to do that. The title of the book is called The Reincarnation of Marie, A Love Reborn in Paris from the Pages of History. June 8th, 2024, it came out. Jim Woodman is going to be joining us on the show. He is, or was, a serial founder, adventurer, aeronaut, and prolific author of travel books, including Discovering Yucatan and Nazca, among others. During his wide-ranging career, he co-founded Air Florida and Latin Travel Magazine and held senior management positions at Travel Advertising Agency and Pan America World. Is that the Pan America, the airline sort of thing?
Yeah. Wow. Chris,
you and I are old, huh?
I was going to say, if you can bring that guy, I'd be appreciative. That's my dad. I published it on behalf of the old man. He died 14 years ago, so all of those things are great. If you can bring him on the show, I'm all over it.
There you go.
That's a whole other show.
There you go. So welcome to the show, Jim. Give us your .coms so people can find you on the interwebs.
Yeah, sorry. Jim's my dad. I'm Henry, and the .com is mariethestory.com. Don't worry about it, Chris. I won't ask you for money.
There you go. Well, at least we know people know how to Google it. So you're Henry Woodman.
That's right, baby.
By habit. So tell us just a little bit about you.
All right. Well, I started I was an entrepreneur, sort of a hedonist, opportunistic entrepreneur. But when I graduated college, I moved to Los Angeles, and I thought to myself, I want to produce and direct movies. That's what I want to do. And of course, that didn't happen. But while I was there, my dad, who was an author, wrote a memoir to a friend, right? Sort of a tribute. And he's moving. My sister picks it up and she says, "What is this?" And he explains it's a love story. Now, keep in mind, Dad did not write love stories. So she said, "Wow, can I read it?" She reads it. She loves it. She says, "Can I send it to Henry?" Yeah. So she sends it to me. She goes, "This is amazing. It would make a great movie." So of course I read it. I fall in love with it. And I'm thinking, "Dad, I got to buy this." He says, "Well, sure." I gave him $1 to buy the rights, right?
$1.
And so I thought to myself, wow, kind of nepotistic of me. I'm in love with a book that my father wrote. I mean, please. So I call a friend of mine who at the time was producing a movie. And I said, "Can you read this and just tell me what you think?" Mm-hmm. So of course he comes back 3 days later and he goes, "This is amazing. We are meant to do this. Let's do this." Life gets in the way. He goes off into real estate. I go off doing travel films and game shows. Then I start a tech company. recently sold a tech company, and now going full circle saying, all right, now we're ready. Of course, 40 years later, we're publishing the book, which we just did, and then we're going to springboard that concept into a TV series that we're developing.
Nice. There you go. Nice TV series. Everything is streaming nowadays, so there's room for everything. And people love these romance novels. Is it a romance novel per se?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's more than, it's the opportunity too. I mean, had I tried to do something 40 years ago, it was a handful of distributors, right? And studios, and that was it. Right now, of course, there's a plethora of options on where this thing can go and how it can get distributed. So because of streaming, there's a lot more content production. It is a paranormal romance with historical fiction.
There you go. There you go. Historical fiction. People love this too. It's very romantic because, the history sometimes is more romantic than current day. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside the book?
So the book, Marie, is actually a real person. Her name in the late 1800s is Marie Bashkirtseff, and she was an artist and a writer. She did some paintings that are in museums around the world to this day. She wrote a book from 14 to 24 when she died. She was young. She died of tuberculosis. Her book was called I Am the Most Interesting Book of All. And it was her journal that she wrote every day, right? Wow. And so 2 years after her death, her mom publishes the book and it becomes an international bestseller. It's about the thoughts and feelings of a young woman talking about things that, at the late 1800s, you just don't talk about, masturbation and sexuality and virginity and things of that nature, right?
That's Fridays around here.
Yeah, no, that's taboo. So what happens is, let's say 100 years later, a young guy picks up the book, the journal, he reads it, and he falls in love with the written word. He falls in love with Marie. He visits the place that she had visited. He finally gets the courage to go visit her tomb. She's in the largest tomb in Passy in Paris. And he finally realizes, this is crazy. I'm in love with a person who died 100 years earlier. This cannot happen. It's ridiculous. And of course, as the story goes, he finds her reincarnation. Wow. And that's the premise of the story, is the fact that this soulmate connection, whether it's through books or real life, and do you reincarnate?
There you go. That's probably the whole reason I've been single all my life. I've never married, and I've been saving up for the divorce. Is half the reason I've been waiting. And then I just never got tired of being happy. So that's the other problem. Anyway, so I just never married. Anyway, but that might be my problem. My soulmate's on a different timeline.
Different metaverse or something. Who knows?
Yeah, so I probably need to die and then go into some other timeline, and then I'll bump into her, or probably with my luck, she'll be in the wrong timeline. It's going to take us a few lifetimes to finally get together, maybe.
Right.
Explains everything that's going on right now. So there you go. So people like this fantasy of soulmates. Why is soulmate so important to people? Why do you think that's such a draw for people on that subject of finding love and finding their soulmate?
I think it's a draw because there's always the question that we ask as humans, okay, is this all there is, right? And is there such a thing as soulmates, or are we just destined to live this little teeny blip in time and history? So those questions, obviously we don't answer the questions, who knows, but it begs the question, are there other people out there? And the reason I'm publishing the book is really as a springboard for the television series, which does a far deeper dive, where the working title now is Slippin'. We are slipping through time, right? But the concept is there are people in your life today who may or may not have been part of your previous life or lives. And what's the deal, right? Are we paying back karma because we did something to them before, or they're paying us back for something good we did? The sins of the father, the karmatic retribution, all of that stuff. And We also are exploring the concepts of time travel, or this metaverse concept of every decision I make, I go in a different direction, right? Had I not done that, where would I be today? Or had I not read the book and found that she is part of me, had I not been looking for her, right?
So does he read the book and start looking for her then?
He does. He doesn't really look for her, but he fantasizes about her. He obviously dates women, and he compares those women to his dead romantic writer, Marie, right? He finishes the date, he goes back to his place and he reads her book and imagines what it would be like with her, right? So
he's trying to see if that gal that he took on a date is the one.
Yeah, not so much the one is like, she's not right for me, and I don't know why. Then read the book and I'm like, this is my perfect match, right?
There you go. I think a lot of people have that thing nowadays where they have a list of what they're looking for, or a person that they're looking for, and they just never can find it because, I don't know, the list is pretty hard. So
I'm sorry, Chris. I also think that marketing is telling us we have to meet this person we're going to be eternally happy with and live happily ever after. Okay, that's kind of a bit of a stretch in marketing jargon, but really, I'm going to meet the woman I'm going to be passionately in love with, and we're always going to be happy, and we're never going to have any issues, and we're going to live holding hands forever. Ooh, we can be friends and we can understand and live, but nothing is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, what if she smells bad? No, I'm just kidding. That's not good. Women don't usually do that. It's usually men who smell bad. But you never know. She might have like a really bad habit, like leaving the toilet seat down or something. See what I did there?
I don't think we explore that concept, but thanks for the thought, Chris.
Yeah. It's if you write your second book, you put that somewhere in the series if you need content. But no, it's everyone gets told your soulmate's gonna come, and I'm 56. I'm like, they better hurry up and bloody get here, because I'm running out of time, eh?
Right. So we explore the concept a little bit more and much deeper in the TV series, as I mentioned. Now, what happens in her real life, Marie, the person who was from the 1800s, she also had a pen pal love letter relationship with another famous writer called Maupassant. But she wrote as anonymous. He did not know that she existed. This is true. In the series, they happen to meet up and they have a challenged encounter where he violates her, right? And what happens is he doesn't know it's her because, they're in this love letter relationship. And so she writes in her journal, I will find you. In time, I will find you, right? This is true. So we in the series look at it like, okay, she needs to find him. Our protagonist in the series is a reincarnated Maupassant, and she's trying to right the wrong, meaning she wants to get back at him, even though they might be soulmates. That adage that love and hate are two sides of the same coin. It's not that she doesn't love him, but she needs to straighten out the issue, or right the wrong, if you will.
This is probably what's happening with my soulmate. She's out for revenge because I owe her money or something. That's probably what it is. I broke her lamp.
You loved her in a previous life.
I broke her lamp in a previous life, and I said I'd pay her back, and I never did. And she's hunting me for revenge. It's not going to be love when she finds me. She'd probably just beat me over the head with a bat or something.
Now that's showing your age. That's an I Dream of Jeannie thing.
Yeah, that sounds like an I Dream of Jeannie thing. Yeah. Is there a lamp in this book at all? An astronaut. So yeah. So when you read this book, what made it stand out to you as a terrific story? What was it that drew you to it?
So when I read first of all, Dad was a travel writer. He's a great writer, but he never wrote this type of passionate love story, which was very odd for my sister. Was shocked, as was I. So when we read it, it was a departure. But what was standing out was the incredible passion and emotion that you get. I mean, I read it 40 years ago and I was in tears, right? I read it a couple of months ago before I published it and I was in tears again.
Wow.
And I've given it to several friends of mine. And every time I'm thinking, okay, maybe, you know, the world has changed, I get so many responses with this emotional attachment of, wow, I can feel the emotion and the passion. And one of my mentors actually wrote me and he says, you know, I had to put it down towards the end because the emotions were too strong for me.
Wow.
You know?
That's a hell of a testament there.
Yeah, he lost his wife a year and a half ago, but you know, the fact of the matter is it's a very well-written, passionate little story about love and sort of that begging the question again. Is there that somebody, and you know, is it and obviously if there is such a thing as soulmates, do we pass through times and not actually get together? Or do we make decisions like Chris and not find them, or we've found some and we've walked away? Or we find somebody and we say yes to pretty much anything because we're in that sort of frame of mind and we miss the opportunity.
Yeah.
You never know.
So it happened to me, man. I slept in on a Saturday or something, didn't go to Starbucks, and she was probably like in the car ahead of me, and we just two ships passed in the night, like that Barry Manilow song or something.
Yeah. Now they're all on social media, so they're never going to find each other.
Never going to find each other. Yeah. It's too busy. I'm probably on all the wrong Instagram profiles. So there you go. But people love romance. It's set in Paris. I think that's always a romantic place to set a book, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, Marie, the reason for the book, who wrote the journal 100 and some odd years ago in the late 1800s, she was a Ukrainian aristocrat whose family moved to Paris and when she was very young, right? So she was brought up in royalty. She was very much a feminist of her day. You know, she was very upset with the fact that she was a great artist and she wouldn't be allowed into a lot of the art academies and schools in Paris because she was a woman. And it was vexing to her that the women didn't get the respect that she thought they were due. So it was a big deal. And then Paris for her was her hometown, you know, and that was where our protagonist reads about her, goes to the cafes where she went and the parks where she would paint and the apartment building where she had lived and just imagined what her life was like.
Mm-hmm. There you go. It's quite interesting. In fact, it's over in France right now. It's the Olympics being held. And all that good stuff.
There you go. And, you know, and the book was acquired by our protagonist. And in real life, you know, this has been a decades-long thing where along the Seine River, the one that they're saying is a bit polluted to swim, but along that river, they have these stalls of booksellers that in many cases sell these old vintage books. And so if you're an avid reader of these types of books, it's like a treasure trove and maybe like a flea market where you're treasure hunting for the ideal stories because they're all there.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So what's the series? What's your plan on the series? It sounds like you kind of have it planned out a little bit. I imagine if someone buys it, they're probably going to buy the rights to do whatever the hell they want. You know how they are sometimes. So
the concept, we sent the pilot to a you know, there's a place called We Screenplay that does the critique of pilots, and it said it was in obviously the top 5% of concepts because the concept of falling in love with somebody who doesn't really exist through their writing, who then you find, and then there's this interplay. So what we've done with the series, or what we're doing with the series, better said, is we're doing a far deeper dive into her life. Our main character's name is Jonathan, his life, how he believes he has slipped through time as a kid and seen things that happened where, you know, she died of tuberculosis and he's seen her in a sanatorium, but he wasn't sure what he was seeing. And so we get these pieces of a puzzle throughout this series that come together in the end, and we then start to understand whose life in a previous timeline is now intertwined with lives in the current timeline and what that means for us. Is it the soulmate that we believed it was, or does it twist and turn and we're paying back karma for something we did, a sin that we had in a previous life? So those explanations sort of weave us through this timeline. And, we don't know what the spirits are doing to us if they exist. We don't know what they're doing to us now, if they affect our lives. They go, man, what a crappy break that was. I wonder how that happened. Or what a great break. I'm lucky. My guardian angel is looking out for me, right?
That's what I need, a guardian angel. Maybe that's what I should date. Maybe that is my soulmate, a guardian angel.
I can see it right there up on your shoulder.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, they're both devils, actually. That's the problem. Lifetime or the Hallmark Channel, this might be a great thing for them. I think, do they buy shows and make them? I think
everybody buys shows. It depends on how you do it. There's definitely an audience for a paranormal, kind of a spiritual, not so much spiritual as it is sci-fi history romance. I mean, look at this a thing called Outlander that was a huge success in the last several years. And it's a story about a woman who, somehow touches a tree and is transported through time and finds her love in another timeline. She goes back and forth. And that's kind of this paranormal romance concept that is appealing to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how people just fall in love with this stuff. But, women love it. I mean, we have a lot of romance novels on the show and everything. I mean, it's just something people love. I mean, what do you...
Yeah. And listen, it adds another dimension of, okay, if I'm Chris Voss and I'm 56 and I haven't found my love, does that mean I'm going to get one in another lifetime? Or did I do something wrong in a previous lifetime that they're punishing me now, or actually rewarding me because I feel pretty damn happy,
I would hope so, because I feel ripped off at this point.
Yeah. But there's that audience of people who ask the questions. We will constantly ask, why are we here? What's it all about? Is there somebody for us? Are these things that we hear about, sins of the father and karma, do they exist? And if so, how does it play into my life?
Yeah. I probably just didn't like my soulmate. That's probably what it was. I was like, no, I don't. You
were on the hate side of the love and hate side of the coin.
They probably were on the wrong political party, and I was just like, I don't care if you're my soulmate. I can't be on your side of the whatever. It's probably like that, or I don't know. They like Starbucks, and I like Dunkin' Donuts, and we just never met. That's probably the problem. just never met. So we just never got there. So do you see, since your dad wrote the book, I mean, do you see any future, maybe the story or the characters taking them on to future books?
Well, I don't know if the book would go on as much as the TV series, which I think has more opportunity, because the book really is a springboard to the TV series. And the series essentially can go for multiple seasons because, let's be honest, these are souls that can be reincarnated any time and place that we want, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact of the matter is, if it does well and they go, man, what a great concept, I love it, and people are really into this whole interweaving of lifestyles and how they affect past and present, okay, in a future or a past or a different time or location, what do we find, right? Whether it's in, here's what we're going to see them finally getting together because if, they've righted the wrong and now we're trying to get back so that we can have that utopian life. That's where the opportunity for multiple seasons go. And because my dad wrote it and I haven't changed a word, then it goes pretty much, that's where it is. This is the springboard. And ironically, when I spoke to the publisher, I said, listen, I'm lazy and I don't like to read. And I'm sure there are people like me. Do I get a voice talent for the audio version? Yeah, usually. And she says, well, you have a pretty good voice. You should do it.
You should do it.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm really not an actor or voice talent or anything, but you know what, as a tribute to Dad, let me do it, right? So there's an audiobook, and sadly you'd have to listen to me for that period. In addition, there's a piano little transitions from Chopin that was mentioned multiple times in the book. It's Chopin pieces that is done by my nephew. So the father wrote it, the son published it, and the grandson does audio and voiceover, and the grandson does the music transitions.
There you go. Now you just need a Holy Ghost, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You got a triad there going on.
Family affair, baby. Yeah.
Family affair. So, what haven't we discussed or covered about the book that you want to tease out to people to get them to pick it up?
Well, I think the big think about is, as I've mentioned multiple times, is the concept of reincarnation. Some people believe it exists, or the concept of time travel or slipping through time, or nowadays with the metaverse, and we're starting to find these interesting concepts of, is there another me? And I kind of went left when I should have gone right. And the guy that went right, he ended up with my soulmate, and do I have to wait another life? So these concepts are ever present as we start to explore our mind and our world, that we're such a tiny little speck in the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we grapple with that concept? Now, the book does a good job of grappling with a very slim area of reincarnation. The TV series will go far deeper. And, listen, Chris, if you or anybody else wants more information on where we're going with this, there's the website, mariethestory.com.
Okay.
And it outlines the book, my dad as the author, and the TV series with my partner, Doug.
There you go. mariethestory.com.
You got it, baby.
And you could this could be an endless series, because, you could just hop around timelines and skip around and don't they do that with Highlander, the movie?
They do it with a lot of things. And the other thing that you can imagine is you can also incorporate, listen, there are so many historical fictions or historical figures out there that you could create this fiction around, because, I imagine most of us have not heard of Marie Bashkirtseff. But if we lived 120 years ago, her book was a bestseller. She was a phenomenon, right? And it was all the rage. So you have to know there are people around the world in different countries that have done amazing things that would make for a great story incorporated into this type of genre.
There you go. People love these stories too, especially women. They love. We have a lot of 200 or 300 romance novels on the show. These books sell like it's hotcakes, so they love them, especially beach reads. So there you go. So give us our final thoughts as we go out. The .com, where people can pick up the book, and final pitch out to people as we go out.
Sure. Oh well, obviously the book is called The Reincarnation of Marie. The .com is mariethestory.com. The TV series that will be springboarded off, or the concept from this, is now called Slippin', but who knows? Somebody's going to change that into something else they want. So all of those things follow the same general premise. Is there such a thing as soulmates? And if there is, how do we find them? Are they through time? Is there such thing as reincarnation? Is it time travel? What's it all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we don't know the answers to all of that, but we pose them in a very eloquent and passionate way.
There you go.
And I won't even tell you how it ends, because that's for the readers to figure out.
That's the one thing about novels. We can't ever give away the middle and the ending, because, people you gotta buy the book, darn it, people, to find out. So there you go. Well, it's been wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who got this far. Much
there you
appreciated.
Go. Thanks, Sir Honest, for tuning in. Order the book wherever fine books are sold. It's called The Reincarnation of Marie, A Love Reborn in Paris from the Pages of History. Jim Woodman was the author, Mr. Woodman's father. It came out June 8th, 2024. Get it wherever fine books are sold. Go to goodreads.com, Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com, Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.